Welcome to episode 5 of Amazing World of Geek. Zero here, your regular host, and today I've got a special guest, Jordan Shala Shaska Head.
Yeah.
Well, you intro your do your intro, Jordan. You know more about you than I do, I think.
Let's start with that.
Who are you?
Play a lot
What
of
do you
games, make a lot of music, draw a lot. Been friends for
I think it's going on 4 years or something like that.
4 years, wouldn't it?
Maybe more.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just think there was a decent gap at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're into games, music, movies,
Yeah.
good TV shows.
I drop a good reference.
Yeah. which is probably one of the pillars of our relationship, the foundation.
Yeah.
I think, a lot of that. So you play games, you're into movies, TV, and you're a budding young artist.
Yes.
So you've got your own art profiles and stuff that you share online when you get time to put new stuff on.
Yeah.
But you do art. So what explain your
a webcomic that I've been planning for about a year and haven't actually really started anything on. That's just been design and...
Well, it takes... I'm sure that takes time, especially when it's only one person doing it.
Yeah, I'm not really a writer, so it's sort of... The whole designing part of that's a bit
so
tough.
What's your art style and what are your artistic influences?
You never ask an artist what their art style is. You can't see it from the inside.
Well, what is it?
Get someone else to say, "Hey, you look like this. Draw like this person." But
what are your influences then?
In terms of realism, you got it's not really realistic, but you got your Giga. That influenced me a lot when I was younger. But at the moment, it's Kim Jong-il's the thing that I sent you recently. That dude's a machine.
Yeah, that's crazy stuff.
He's ridiculous.
Yeah, if you guys get time, YouTube some of that stuff.
Just Kim Jong-il YouTube, and he's got his own channel. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
That dude has like 3D rendering engine built into his mind.
Yeah, that was impressive stuff. That legitimately kind of blew my mind when you showed me that for the first time. That was cool. What about podcasts? Like you I didn't force you to do this. You pretty much from the start said you wanted to have a go.
I thought it'd be cool.
And you mentioned to me when we talked the other night that you listen to podcasts as well.
I actually had to think about that again. So the first podcast I ever listened to was actually prior to Metal Gear Solid 4 coming out.
Oh, okay.
It was the Kojima Productions podcast.
Oh, that was a thing.
Yeah,
wasn't
and
it? Does he still do that?
I think it was Ryan Pate. What's the guy's name?
Okay.
I can't remember, but I don't think he does anymore because I don't think he's with Konami.
Oh, of course, yeah, you're right.
Nobody's with Konami anymore.
No, you're right.
But yeah, it was like a cool little behind-the-scenes look at the making of Metal Gear Solid 4, but it was... Like, they had David Hayter on one point as a guest, and it was just funny hearing him talk candidly after playing those games for so many years. And just hearing him do the voice live was...
It was cool behind-the-scenes stuff.
Yeah, but after that, went on to... I don't remember when I started going to oneup.com, and I don't think I ever really went there for news, really. But they had a huge selection of podcasts that were all on different topics and genres. So, that's where you got Retronauts and One Up Yours and all that sort of stuff. So, when One Up eventually closed down and got shut down, all of those people dispersed into different places and ended up making their own podcasts.
Yeah.
Separate from that. I think Retronauts still exists with the same people, Jeremy Parish and a couple other guys. And then the two main ones that I followed were Anthony Gallegos went and did this one called Rebel FM for a while, which was pretty cool. And then through him, I think I found the Geek Box, which is one I still listen to now.
Yeah.
And through the Geek Box, I found the Comedy Button. So they're sort of my two that I main at the moment, is the Geek Box and the Comedy Button.
That's awesome.
Which, they're quite good. Very, very different, but they're a shared people between the two of them.
Yeah,
so.
I see. That's awesome. So, E3 just finished. We're
a bit late, but better late than never.
It's still fresh in the mind. It's still with people. We're just at the start of July now.
Yeah.
So E3 happened recently.
It was interesting. I don't think there was anything that was as hype as the Final Fantasy reveal from last year, just in terms of seeing people's reaction to it.
Sure.
But there was still some cool stuff there.
Yeah.
Just trying to think where we should start, probably from the top. EA didn't show a huge amount.
Yeah,
I mean, half their conference is always just dedicated to sports anyway.
I missed a lot of the conferences because just because of like work stuff. So I didn't actually catch any of them, unfortunately, because it sucks every time E3 comes around. It's always on at the same time of year, but I'm just full on working at that time.
It's always on at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. in the morning too. So
it kind of sucks for us time-wise.
Yeah, I think half of EA's was sports, which is what they always do, and
that's to be expected.
Yeah,
isn't it?
That's
unfortunately
take it or leave it, basically.
Yeah.
And then the stuff that they did show of their games was really brief, and they seemed to have a hard-on for showing, artsy footage of developers at work.
Yeah.
Narration.
I noticed that with the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, they did it with that, and they did it with Mass Effect. It was just, hey, here's someone slightly moving a rock somewhere in a game engine, and we'll narrate how we're working on the game.
I was expecting a lot of Star Wars stuff to get shown.
They said they're making a lot, they just didn't show anything.
There was nothing
really.
to show.
There was a tiny bit of footage of that action game, where it's sort of third person from behind, you sort of walking through. I
was really disappointed because you showed me that video of, it's just a show reel of like devs working on various titles. I'm like, this is
not a lot of footage.
Uninteresting. I mean, it really doesn't give you much information other than, yes, there's Star Wars games and people are working on them currently.
Which we already knew.
Yeah, exactly. Especially because they had, when it was announced back then, that they had the contract Star Wars license for like the next 10 years or something. So
for the rest of time.
Obviously they're working on games every year constantly, so we knew that. You're right.
That one I didn't watch live. I could have, but it's...
probably wasn't worth it.
No, I knew there wasn't really any... It's not like they're going to announce a new Dead Space. That series is dead to them, I believe.
Pun intended?
Yes. And... I mean, they didn't drop any new IPs that I was interested in, and they hadn't hinted at anything coming out.
Yeah, there was no Dragon Age sequel or anything like that.
No. So I'm trying to think what was up. Bethesda, I think, was after that.
So was it? Okay.
I believe so. So I think it was Bethesda, Ubisoft, Sony. Oh no, Microsoft was the first one of the day. So that was the first one I watched.
Of course.
Just trying to jog my memory of what was in it. I remember they dropped a couple of trailers for controllers. That was
kind of redundant. Project Scorpion.
Yeah, that was right at the end. That's their sort of counter to the PlayStation Neo.
But the Neo wasn't even officially announced.
No, but I think they've said, they've confirmed that they're making it.
But it wasn't like...
No, they didn't. They didn't even mention it in their conference.
That was strange.
But, and I mean, the Neo seems more necessary than the Scorpio does. Unless Microsoft's planning on showing off a VR headset at some point.
Sure.
Like, the main reason for the Neo is not that, PS4 games have bad frame rates, because people deal with that. Like, that happened through the PS3 and the last console generation. It's that with VR, you can't have a bad frame rate.
Yeah.
I mean, if you put a VR headset on and go sub 75 or sub 90 frames per second, you'll feel sick. So they need the extra grunt just to, not even for better graphics, just to ensure that they can hit stable frame rates with Morpheus.
Okay. So that's what that's all about.
Well, that's my sort of idea.
Sure.
Because they're wanting to sell Morpheus, and you're not going to be able to use it if you can't hit the frame rates that you need to.
Okay. I thought the box that comes with the thing outputted enough, power and stuff anyway.
I'm not sure. I don't have a PS4, so...
Okay.
But I know there's been, a bunch of games that hit sub 30, which is not desirable, really.
I guess we won't really know until it comes out. I mean,
I'm eager for VR to become a thing,
I have a PS4.
All the best, really.
Just a normal PS4, but, I wouldn't mind trying, the VR thing when it comes out. But I didn't pre-order it or anything. I don't know. Who's going to afford that right now? Not me, that's for sure.
Just trying to remember what else Microsoft showed. There was Scorpio. In terms of games, they showed not Dragonborn. What's it called? Scaleborn.
Ah.
But Hideki Kamiya.
Yeah.
Game. So.
Yeah, I think you showed me that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been excited when it was announced, just because he's a great, third-person action game developer.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the greatest demo. I think the last demo they showed was a bit better in terms of showing off the combat. This one was... I mean, it sort of had the God of War boss syndrome, where the boss was impressive to look at, and it was a spectacle, but the gameplay itself just didn't look terribly interesting.
Okay.
It's the problem God of War's always had compared to Devil May Cry in terms of bosses. If you have an absolutely enormous boss, it can look really impressive, but the moment-to-moment gameplay, you're just hitting a wall, basically.
Which was the video I watched, that really long one?
That was the one where he was fighting the giant crab monster.
That's right. Yeah, it was a big boss fight.
And for portions of that, anytime the character's actually hitting the monster's so big you don't even see anything. He's kind of just swinging wildly at either some weak point that's poking out of the boss, or the boss itself, which is so big it's just a wall.
Yeah, right.
What I'd be more keen on, and I'm sure they'll have it somewhere in the game, is like a one-on-one fight between someone else that's got their own dragon and their own sort of dragon form, or whatever that mode's called.
Sure.
I want to call it a devil trigger because it looks like a devil trigger. It functions like a devil trigger.
That's what it basically is, isn't it?
Devil trigger in everything but name. So.
Yeah. What, for you personally, because you're a gamer and like you've got your own interests gaming-wise, like in terms of types of games you play and genres and stuff, out of the things that were announced this year at E3 2016, what was, for you...
Game of the show?
Well, what were like the top 3 things that really kind of grabbed your attention the most?
I know 2 of them were definitely from Sony. So God of War, just because it's interesting. I'm still not 100% sold on it being a Last of Us style.
Well,
it looks very Last of Us.
That's the thing, though. I don't think we've seen enough to really understand.
I'm sort of 2 ways about it. I understand why they are doing it, and I kind of want them to, because by the time God of War Ascension came out, and I played... I haven't even finished that one.
Neither have I. That's the only one I haven't actually finished.
It's because it was just the same thing again. And
Yeah.
as much as I do really like the combat in those games, it was just the same thing again.
Sure.
So a revamp's kind of needed. This is just... It's a big change.
It is, isn't it?
So... I mean, it'll be interesting to see where they go with it.
Yeah, agreed.
But it did give me a very Last of Us vibe.
Yeah, and a lot of people have that same opinion.
At least the non-combat segments did.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It feels... Or it... Not feels, I haven't played it really, but it appears to be like it'll be more... I mean, the other ones were always story-driven, but it feels like this one's going to be more story-driven. It's going to have
they're trying to give
stronger narrative.
Trying to give Kratos more than one character trait than absolutely pissed.
Exactly. I think it'll be interesting. I
want to see. I want to see more of it. I'll leave it at that,
Same.
so that I'm not going to rule it one way or the other. I just want to see more
us and everyone else. I suppose everyone wants to get more of that one.
And that Detroit Beyond Human, I thought that looked really good.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's a David Cage game, so
that.
I mean, he kind of overpromises a lot, but it did look really good, and I enjoyed Heavy Rain.
That was cool, actually. I remember you got me onto that. You showed me that one time, and that looked really cool.
Yeah, and if it follows the same sort of style as Heavy Rain, and I haven't played his Beyond Soul Suspect, I think it was called.
Beyond Two Souls?
Beyond Two Souls.
Yeah, I haven't played that one either.
I haven't played that, but I think that one's similar in terms of the way he tells the story.
Well, there was a remastered package that came out, I think last year or earlier this year, that has both on the same thing.
Did you play Heavy Rain?
Yes, I haven't finished it though.
You should.
I know.
That was the best part. Like, I really enjoyed the game, but the best part was when one of my friends played it. I compared my playthrough to his.
Yeah.
There were whole sections of the game he never even saw.
The only thing deterring me is the fact that it's on PS3, and I just never boot up my PS3.
Yeah, no, mine's in the cupboard over there.
Unless I'm watching a movie on the other TV, I just never turn it on.
I just don't know where to put it.
Well, yeah, you've got a pretty big setup here, and there isn't much room for it.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, we're recording this live. Usually we do it over the what do you call it? Like over comms, over the internet, like two-way. But we decided to change the format and
single mic.
Yeah, just use a single mic, doing it IRL, like in the same room, and just hopefully it turns out. If not, we'll just keep refining it. But
chuck a filter over it, will be all good.
Yeah,
auto tune it a little.
Auto tune it a bit, just
drop a sick fat beat over the top.
Yeah, just the bits that don't really sound too old. Just kind of edit that. Yeah, the PS3, I just never turned it on. But now that it is on PS4, maybe I should just start start a new profile.
If there's a remastered version.
Because I don't have it on PS4, but I nearly bought it last week actually. Cause
there was a version of it with Move support too. I'm not sure if the PS4 still has Move controllers. I mean, it's still, that would kind of be gimmicky, but it would fit.
I'm pretty sure it does, because aren't they?
Yeah, Morpheus is going to use it.
Yeah, so yeah, it definitely does. I don't know if you have to buy new ones though, or if you can use the ones from the PS3.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I've got old ones from the PS3.
Console manufacturers nowadays aren't big fans of backwards compatibility, really. Yeah.
That sucks.
That's why you get all your HD collections.
Yeah, exactly. So,
third one,
1, 2, and what was the third one?
I don't know. There was nothing I was like ridiculously hyped.
What about Tekken 7? You were like all over
that's a given though. I'm a Tekken fan, so. What? But I already knew that was coming, and it's at the arcade in Brisbane.
That's noteworthy, isn't it?
I know. It's more that game already exists. I can play it in the city. I just want it to come out already.
Well, to be fair though,
the most exciting part of the Tekken announcement was that it has a release date now, or a release period.
Yeah.
I mean, the story mode, yeah, okay. I mean, it's a story mode in a fighting game. They're not really.
But the current build of the game we have access to where we live
is much older and it has less characters.
It's like version 1 or 2 or something.
It's just Tekken 7. Yeah. So I can't remember what it's something Rebellion, the newest version that's going to come out on consoles.
But that announcement trailer for the E3 trailer for this year for Tekken,
it's pretty. I mean, they're doing an interesting thing with the story that. Yeah. I'm not sure any other fighting game's done yet, where mid-fight it's dropping QTEs.
Oh, the NetherRealms games did
that. Mortal Kombat does that as well.
I think, and Injustice. Sorry. I don't know what happened. Injustice.
Yeah.
Injustice, the first one was doing that. I think that was the first one.
Yeah, I know Mortal Kombat 9 and 10 had pretty fleshed out story modes.
Yeah, but
quite long too.
9 didn't have like the quick time events and stuff. Injustice and MKX did that.
I don't know. Tekken 7's doing the mid-fight now, which is kind of cool, and having some cinematic moments. Like there's a point where Akuma charges up his super, basically, and he's just idle doing it for a couple of seconds, and it looks like you could hit him enough to break him out of it, and that triggered the next part of the cutscene.
Yeah, that was cool. That was kind of exciting to watch. And
that said, it's like I said, it's a fighting game story mode. I'm not super fussed on it. I just want it to be able to verse other people.
Yeah.
What I hope for more is good netcode.
Yeah, I was just going to say that actually. Netcode for fighting games in recent history hasn't had a really good track record.
Street Fighter 5 is okay at launch. It's just once the player base drops off, it gets significantly worse when there's less people.
I remember Street Fighter 5 at launch being like unplayable.
Well, yeah, no, at launch it was unplayable. There was a nice little window where it was okay. Yeah. Now it's at a point where the player base isn't big enough for you to really pick up a good connection.
MKX devs like a whole year to fix the netcode and MKX.
The problem is that there's been games that have come out that I remember reading reviews like on Tekken Tag 2 saying that the netcode was great and that you could get decent connections with opponents pretty quickly. And just in Australia, that doesn't happen. Really.
No. Yeah.
I mean, the best connection I've ever gotten in a fighting game was Tekken Revolution, that downloadable Tekken game.
That was good.
And I got decent matches where I could actually pull off juggles successfully, and everything went pretty smoothly.
Yeah, that was very smooth. I remember. I mean,
if I could get that consistently, then I'd probably play fighting games online a lot more.
Yeah.
It's just they're so reliant on the smallest time frames.
Yeah.
Any lag at all completely breaks them.
That just doesn't work down here, does it? No. Yeah, netcode's always been an issue with games, especially with fighting games like that, where you need.
So, any games that I haven't mentioned that you were excited?
I was going to say Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
That was like probably the hypest shit at the whole thing.
PT2.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, not 2. There was never a first one.
The night that conference was held, they released that same night the demo for PS Plus members.
Called a Sega Saturn.
Yeah, right, exactly. Thankfully, it appeared to be fine, and people had access to it.
Successful to them.
People could actually find it and download it. So,
that looks good.
I need to renew my subscription. Actually, download that if it's. I'm assuming it's still available. We should actually hook that up one day and go through it.
I'm sort of in a weird spot with the Resident Evil remake as well, because I think the new game looks really, really good, and I want that game to be made. I am kind of going to miss the silliness of the later Resident Evil games. Because they did get ridiculous to a point that was it was camp and funny.
Sure.
Like Chris Redfield punching a boulder in a volcano.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to have anything like that in the new one. Really. I don't even think they're going to mention...
Did he actually do that?
Yeah. Last boss of Resident Evil... Spoilers for Resident Evil 5.
That's old now. People, if you haven't played it, it's your fault.
Wesker, I think, crashes his helicopter in a volcano, and then you're in the volcano trying to get to him, and there's boulders in your way, and it just starts a QTE where Chris Redfield just punches it repeatedly.
Oh my lord.
And then he pushes it out of the way, and you punch the boulder.
I feel like I'm missing out on some...
Yeah,
good
like
things
that, and I think Resident Evil 6 has also got a bunch of just ridiculous moments like that. So I like both sides of that. I like their more serious side, and I like the wacky camp shit that they do. But
maybe because they...
I mean, there's enough Resident Evil games come out. I'm sure they'll have both. This will just be the main line.
Exactly.
Probably going to be a bit more
They
serious.
make so many Resident Evil spin-offs, side games that
Umbrella Chronicles.
Yeah.
And, I don't know why I thought of Dead Aim, I think was one. I had that for my G-Con 2.
That rings a bell, yeah.
It was the light gun one.
Yeah,
that was on PS2.
Yeah, that was old school. Yeah. I remember that. So we might be getting still best of both worlds here with that, by the sound of it.
And I'm even though it's become quite popular and there's a lot of them now, I'm still not sick of that style of horror yet. The weaponlessness, well, the weaponless, sneaky stealth sort of horror that Alien Isolation and Amnesia and all that.
Love that game.
Well, Outlast, I guess, is probably the best example.
I can't wait for the new one.
Yeah, that looks good.
I really can't wait. I keep talking about it because I just really want it.
It should be out pretty soon, I think. There hasn't been too much info.
It comes out fall this year, so I don't know when that will be for us.
Next season.
So it's
it's
around the corner.
It's summer over in the States now.
Yeah.
So it'll be autumn next couple
of
months.
You're right. There you go. So I can't wait for that.
So we'll get it in spring.
That System Shock Kickstarter demo.
Yeah, I've literally only seen screenshots. I haven't even really watched much footage.
I watched the playthrough of the whole demo on 60 frames per second online.
I mean, I can... my appreciation of it can really only come from seeing screenshot comparisons. Because I never played the first one.
Sure.
I haven't even played System Shock 2, which I know I should have.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like I'm probably missing a little bit of the wonder of seeing it recreated in this really HD way. But I mean, it makes for a good sort of starting point, I guess. Now, considering I never played it before, now would be a good time to just with the new one.
Yeah, it looks amazing, and I know it's just a demo, and it's probably still pre-alpha or something. But I heard the Kickstarter went well for that. I mean, it looks pretty amazing. Yeah.
Unreal Engine will do that.
Yeah. And so that looks awesome. That's kind of on the radar for me.
Yeah.
Now that I've seen it anyway. And yeah, I think Resident Evil was probably the highlight of
I just
this year.
Now that demo's out, there's been a lot of dissection of that demo.
Oh, really?
There's a lot of hidden stuff in there. In the playthrough that I first watched, I think it's the one I linked to you and we watched it at the same time.
Yeah.
There was just a full playthrough of the demo up until... Welcome to the Family Son, punch in the face.
Exactly.
I think it probably would have been in that footage and we just never spotted it, but there's that ghost that shows up. Just only for a couple of frames.
Yeah.
But... Yeah, people spotted that late, a couple of playthroughs down the road.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And the thing that, I haven't looked too much into this, I've just seen it every now and again, is there's an item you pick up near the start of the demo that's a mannequin finger, so it's a finger from one of those mannequins.
Oh, right.
Or it's a doll finger, or something along those lines. And... people have been poring over this demo trying to figure out what that's used for. Because if you remember the PT demo, to get to the end of the demo, there was some obscure thing that you had to do. You had to talk into your microphone at a certain point in the demo.
I still can't figure out how I finished that game. I obviously did something to trigger the ending, but I still don't know what I did exactly to do it. I think I was just mucking around. I don't know if it was the mic or not, because I remember trying to fool around with it.
Yeah.
But, I was going to ask you about that. The demo for Resident Evil 7, as much as people have analysed it, I'm sure there's still a lot of stuff in there that probably hasn't been.
I mean, people want there to be, but some people are starting to get disheartened just thinking that that's in there just to fuck with people. Like, that's in there, has no use in the demo, and people are just going to obsess over it and try and find something that it triggers.
That's just cruel.
It would be.
That's just cruel. What are they doing to us?
Biggest disappointment of E3 was I was getting hyped for them to announce a new Devil May Cry, but
yeah, it wasn't. I remember this now because you
wasn't on the cards.
You were really, dare I say it, getting your hopes up.
I know, and I knew I shouldn't have.
And there were a lot of things to suggest to you that it was going to be a thing.
Twitter posts.
Yeah, like cryptic kind of Twitter things and the mocap actors and voice actors.
Yeah, the voice actor he's voice actor and mocap actor for Dante, and then the actor for Virgil, both posting things on Twitter, sort of suggesting that they were, doing motion capture for a Devil May Cry or things like that.
And what did it end up being, Jordan?
Pachinko game.
Yay.
So that's we call that the Konami syndrome.
The Konami syndrome. The more pachinko machines.
Yeah, like the Metal Gear Solid, not Peace Walker, Snake Eater remake HD in Fox Engine, which looks amazing.
Oh
and
my god!
And it's a pachinko machine. They've just redone some of the cutscenes.
I don't know. I don't have words. I just can't abide by that. That's what's going on.
I know. I mean, maybe they'll lose a lot of money and then realise the error of their ways.
If we had pachinko machines here, would we be playing them?
No.
Is the big question.
Well, I went to Japan. I went to try one, and they're the most horrifically noisy places I've ever been.
Just really obnoxiously...
Well, you know how like the victory noise that will play on like a slot machine or something? That's
sure.
Like, that sort of thing. They're like making that noise 100% of the time on top of the noise of small metal balls clacking through like a little machine. So it's... Yeah,
Save me now.
Yeah, we stopped by one of them and just... Even when there were a couple that we just didn't go into, but we would walk past and the automatic doors would open.
Yeah.
And you would just get blasted with this noise. It was brutal.
Yeah, to say the least, right? Yeah. So that
was E3.
That's E3, I think. And I think that's it. Like, you can really only narrow it down to a few key items that were shown or announced that really kind of pique your interest.
Yeah, well, there was all the usual stuff. I mean, Ubisoft had their wacky thing with Aisha Taylor like they do every year. They had some atrocious fake gameplay audio, which they always seem to do. I just don't get the point of that.
Oh, the cringe.
Who are they selling that to? Like, no one is listening to that being like, oh, this is exactly how people talk when they're playing games.
Totally exceeding normal cringe levels with those things.
It's bizarre that anyone's like, yeah, we'll stick with that audio. That's exactly how people talk.
Yeah. Another movie, but also game-related thing that occurred recently as well, I think just after E3, the Warcraft movie came out, which was...
mediocre.
It was mediocre, but by the time we got it here, by the time it was released here, all the reviews and stuff were already circulating.
Saying that it was terrible.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I mean, I kind of went there out of obligation, just because I'd played Warcraft.
Yeah, you played Warcraft.
So I was like, okay, yeah, we'll go see it. It was okay, I guess. I mean, it was cool seeing those visuals on screen, but it was such a generic movie. I basically can't remember anything about it.
And
aside from the plot points that I already know from the game.
Yeah, exactly. You already know everything that's going to happen because you've played the games and the expansions and stuff.
So but after that, I decided to go back to World of Warcraft and give it a go, just to reminisce. And yeah, it's dead basically. Yeah. There's not a lot there anymore, and it made me think about visiting my nan back in New South Wales and having these fond memories of seeing her when I was younger, and then just going back there now, and it's just this, like, she's in the same town that she used to live in, and it's just this rundown place. Windale in New South Wales, if you want to look it up, it has its own Wikipedia page. Windale Warriors.
Windale Warriors. Yeah. Fuck Windale Warriors.
Yeah, it's Mad Max over there. I mean, I'm sure they're probably fighting over gasoline somewhere in there right now.
There you go again with like the movie references. I love that.
Yeah.
So stale, basically, right? That whole movie. I have never played any of the Warcraft games except
Yeah, so you'd see it coming from the perspective of someone that doesn't actually know any of the lore.
Yeah, I played... Alright, here's my kind of knowledge of it. I haven't played any of the Warcraft games, but I played WoW, World of Warcraft, yeah, the online game. I played that for a month. You know how you get like a free month when you sign up? I did that. I got up to like level... I can't remember. I think it was like 40 something.
That's pretty far.
And for a while, I was kind of like interested in it enough that I was like playing it a little bit every night.
WoW lives and dies on how many friends you're playing with.
Yeah, I was
playing it by yourself. It's not fun.
Well, I was playing it with like one guy, and that was only because he started a new character, so he could like level up.
Level faster. Yeah.
But yeah, it was that friend thing where you can like level faster.
You get double experience.
But everyone else, like, they were like level 100 or whatever it was at the time, whatever the cap was.
It's 100 now.
Well, it must have been like level 90 back then.
Yeah, probably around about that.
This was like last year or the year before.
Yeah, it'd be around 90 then.
And yeah, so I wasn't really like playing in groups or anything, but I was just kind of doing.
Yeah, and like the best memories I have of that game is when I was playing with like a group of 8 or 9 people and doing raids together and dungeons together. It
didn't kind of keep my attention long enough that it would allow me to kind of want to renew my membership, so I didn't end up doing that. And I guess...
And it's a vastly different game now.
The only reason why I think this is kind of cool, but the only reason why I knew most of the characters and generally what was going on in the Warcraft movies because of Hearthstone, because I used to play that so much. So I knew, like, the characters from the card game, therefore I could identify them easily in the film and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was weird seeing, you know, important story characters just as sort of background animations.
Yeah, and I knew who the bad guy was, I knew who the bad guy would end up being simply because...
Medivh.
Like, yeah, because I remember the card and he looked like really evil in the card.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about watching the movie is that it's... I mean, most of the people viewing it, I would assume, would be fans, or at least a large portion of the viewer base would be fans. And anyone who knows anything about Warcraft lore is going to know who Medivh is and what his story is.
Exactly.
So the big plot twist in the movie that Medivh's actually evil is just sort of, you know...
Yeah. I didn't really care much for it, honestly.
Yeah, no, it's... I don't really have any urge to see it again.
Did I have fun watching it? I don't know, that's...
Yeah, well, watching movies with friends is normally fun regardless. I mean, Gods of Egypt was an absolutely atrocious movie, but...
I think I mentioned that in one of the other episodes. That movie was so bad.
It was a bad movie.
It's a 90s kids, like, action cartoon.
I didn't even know what I saw.
Yeah. Just gold.
Yeah.
People in gold.
Giant flaming Jeffrey Rush.
Yeah, exactly. And I watched... Also, on a similar note, we both saw X-Men Apocalypse, didn't we?
I haven't, no.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I saw the one scene in the movie worth seeing, and then that was it.
Oh, that's right. Well, I watched it.
I think we were me and Augustin were going to go and watch it, and then we just went and played Tekken 7.
Oh, that's right, yeah. I remember that.
Which I think was probably a better investment of $20.
Yeah. So, I can't argue with you there at all.
And I saw the Quicksilver scene online, which was really cool, but apparently I don't need to see the rest of the movie.
Nope. No, you don't.
There you go.
Yeah. You do not.
I've never been a huge... Like, I like superheroes, but I've just never been huge on the X-Men movies. I think I've seen all of 1 and 2, but never in one sitting. Because they've been on TV so many times, and I've seen, the start of the movie. I've seen
you should
the end
watch
of the
First Class.
No, that one I have seen. That one
you've seen that one.
That one I saw at the movies, and that's apparently the best one.
Yeah.
So I've done well.
It's not a matter of like argument or anything. It actually is like the best one. I think 1 and 2 used to be, but they're kind of like dated now.
I know 2's good. David Hayter actually did the screenplay for 2.
Yes, he did. He's done a lot of he did Watchmen.
He did a bit of Watchmen. I think early on he did a treatment of Watchmen. But I think a lot of that was changed, but because he was part of that initial writing of it, he's still in the credits.
Yeah. I just remember sitting in the theatre during that and seeing his name, I'm like, oh,
I remember hearing Alan Moore read Hayter's treatment for Watchmen, and it was Watchmen but in a modern setting, so it was the same story retold but contemporary. and he thought that was about as good as someone would be able to get Watchmen on film.
Oh, okay.
And that's not what the
Right.
movie is. And
Exactly.
I really enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
But the movie is like a shot-for-shot, in some cases, remake of the comics till the ending.
Is that a bad thing, though?
I
For a
don't know.
comic book?
I really enjoy it, so...
Yeah. Yeah. X-Men Apocalypse. I love X-Men, especially because I grew up on the 90s cartoon show, like, religiously. I used to watch it. And obviously I used to read the comics and stuff.
It seems like that franchise, though, doesn't know where to go aside from the Phoenix story arc. That seems to... They've done that.
And they're going back to it now.
Now they're setting it up to just do it again.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
And they did it kind of poorly the first time, so...
If you want the Phoenix Saga,
They just want Dark Phoenix.
Just watch the cartoons.
I know,
or
it did
something.
the whole Dark Phoenix.
Just read the
Story
graphic
line.
novels or the comics.
Yeah.
Wasted opportunity.
Yeah.
It's Apocalypse. What? That could have gone...
I know.
That could have turned out
I
really...
mean, like I said, I haven't seen the movie, but all I've heard is that he doesn't do a huge amount.
He just...
Considering how powerful he's meant to be.
Just kind of warps around the planet and, like, does some fancy things with his hands, like with his powers and...
Speaking of warping around the planet... I'm not going to mention anything about Game of Thrones because I haven't really watched it, and two, I'm sure people who listen to this haven't watched the series and intend to. But Varys fucking teleports around.
Yeah,
he's just turning up in places in like short periods of time.
Yeah, I know.
I saw someone posting about that the other day, and I'm like, that guy gets around.
Yeah, he's using warps from like.
I know.
Super Mario
he's just got some like portals going on. Oh, yeah, you've been playing Portal 2 recently. So what do you?
Nice
think of
segue,
that?
Jordan.
I know.
That was good.
I transitioned that quite well.
You're right. I have because obviously the Steam Summer Sale is on now, so I kind of went nuts. Like I was a nutcase on the store.
$4.99
page.
is not what I would consider nuts for Portal 2, but I know you bought a lot more than that.
No, I mean I just bought a whole bunch of games. Portal 2 was one of them.
I just can't believe you haven't seen anything about the story.
I haven't seen anything of the story.
I had the story spoiled as I was playing it. It's because I played it at launch.
I think it's like over 10 years old or something now. Well, at least I think it is.
Not 10 years, but it'd be a couple of years old now.
Right. Old enough that you would expect it to have been spoiled.
Yeah, so, we'll this just put some spoilers on the tag for this video, so we can talk about a few things.
I haven't finished it yet, though.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about up to where you're up to.
Okay.
Like, you know that Wheatley's, like, turns evil.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, I had that spoiled for me as I was playing the earlier parts of the game.
Are you kidding?
I know, and like that was... And it was for a completely unrelated thread, too. I was just browsing through the video game board.
Because that was a surprise.
I know. And I was just browsing a completely unrelated thread, but Portal 2 had just released at the time. And someone put a spoilered comment, and it was, like I said, this thread that I was in had nothing to do with Portal 2. And the spoilered comment was just like, Wheatley's the bad guy. I'm like, fuck off.
That's unreal. I mean,
Yeah.
I wasn't...
I think the thread was about, like, monitor resolution or something, and then just someone chucked Wheatley's the bad guy in there.
There's some evil people out there on
That's it. That
forums.
didn't spoil my enjoyment of the game. It's
really
good.
It's an excellent game.
So you'd be up to the gels now, I think.
I'm in this bit...
They'd be introducing
Well, I mentioned this to you previously, but So Wheatley's kind of taken over, which was completely... I wasn't expecting that. Until I entered that room with GLaDOS, and I'm like, wait, can this go this way? And it actually did. So it was a big kind of reveal for me. I wasn't expecting it in a big way. So that was really cool. So GLaDOS is a potato now, and you fall down this huge tunnel for like... It feels like 5 minutes of you just falling.
Yeah.
And you lose GLaDOS as a potato, and I think a bird like flies away with her, and that's like... I don't know what happens after that. I think I'm up to that bit now.
Yeah.
So you're walking around these like...
So now you're in the old ruins of Aperture Science.
Yeah, exactly. So...
With J.K. Simmons.
Yes, with J.K. Simmons, which was so good. I love that.
He's a great character in that game.
His voice in that was also a surprise. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
I mean, you even told me he's in it, but then I just kind of forgot about it. So I have no idea at all.
I know, which I'm excited
happens.
to. So if we do another one of these post Portal 2,
yeah,
we should discuss your thoughts on it, because Because you don't know anything about the ending, I want to know what your thoughts are when that happens, because it was pretty spectacular.
I have no idea where it's going to go. Nor can I even imagine where it could go. Like, that's just one of those games, which is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I should finish that fairly soon. I mean,
it's not a hugely long game.
I mean, I've played a fair bit of it. I think I got up to that bit in like a couple of days.
Yeah.
And I don't even play for that long. So that'll be cool. I'll get to find out what happens in that soon. And what else did I get on Steam? I bought all the Bioshock games because I just felt like replaying them again.
And then they announced a remaster.
Yeah, and they literally announced the remastered versions of all 3 games. Like, I think it was like 2 or 3 days after I bought them on Steam. But apparently, if you already own them, it doesn't matter. Like, you just get them as a free update or something.
Because I've got 2 of them. So.
Yeah. You should get the other one.
Yeah, I know. Everyone, the reviews for Bioshock 2 have always been kind of average. The one thing I would get Bioshock 2 for is I've heard nothing but good things about Minerva's Den. The DLC.
I never played that
DLC. Well, the problem is I think you need Games for Windows Live to even download it properly.
The DLC?
Yeah.
Oh.
So on top of it being really good and hard to get, it's obscure and it's really hard to download.
Okay.
Almost as hard to download as the story mode for Street Fighter V. Alright. For those that don't know, the story mode for Street Fighter V is not part of the 8GB patch that was recently added to the game.
Yeah, don't be a fool like
no. And it's not even something that you can select to download. You need to go to the DLC for the game, choose to play the game, which opens it, but that then adds it to your DLC list, which is not ticked, by the way. You then have to tick it in your DLC list, and then it'll download. I'm sure they'll probably change all this at some point, but that's pretty ridiculous.
We downloaded, because we have slow internet, spent like a day downloading the patch, the 8GB massive, because for us it's big. That's a big patch update, 8 gig. You know, because it's got like characters or whatever in it now, extra things. And we're thinking, oh yeah, great, we've got like all the characters and we can play the like
story mode,
actual real story mode now. No. So we're trying to launch the game and get into this story mode to like have a go. Also because in the story mode, Jury and Urian are playable, even though like even if you don't have the character
less moves,
packs.
but
yeah. So that was kind of like exciting, but no, you couldn't play it. So we can't even select it in the main menu. Then we finally, after some fuckery, realised that you've actually got to download it as a separate DLC download file.
Which, by the way, this wasn't discovered through, Capcom releasing information on how to do all this. We figured this out through a Steam review.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So, yeah.
Which was annoying, because then that was basically a 7.4 gigabyte, nearly 8 gigabyte additional download data. So
a whole nother evening of downloading.
I mean, I still haven't had a chance to play it. Like, I downloaded it, but I just haven't had time since yesterday to do that.
Yeah.
So that sucked, to say the least. And I guess finally...
Well, I got one more thing that we should talk about before we wrap up.
Well, me too. Do you want to go first?
Well, unless they're the same thing.
They probably are.
It was that one of the reasons for doing the podcast here was that you're able to try out the Oculus.
Right. Yes. Well, it's not the first time I've used the Oculus.
It's the first time you've used the DK2.
Right. It's the first time I've used the DK2. The first time I tried VR, just any VR at all, was you demoing the DK1, the dev kit 1.
Alien Isolation and...
With Alien Isolation, which...
Batman demo, I think, the Batcave.
The Alien Isolation thing was literally the first time I've ever used VR of any kind. And it just blew my socks off. Not only because it's VR, you're in a different world all of a sudden.
Yeah. And
you're fully immersed in it, in kind of almost every sense of the word, visually and... yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 2 of your senses are gone.
But also because it was like one of my favourite games I've ever made, Alien Isolation.
I wish it still worked on the DK2.
Yeah.
I think people are hard at work getting it working again, because there's built-in support for Oculus. It's just the CV1, which is the consumer version,
just when you
think
you start to get desensitized to the game, because I can't count how many times I finished that game. Like, you know all the levels back to not the levels, the areas of the
and how the
Sevastopol and stuff. Yeah. Playing it with the headset with the VR gear on was just totally. It was like almost a different game.
Your brain does some weird things when your eyes are telling you that there's something really close to your head.
Yeah.
You instinctively want to just move your head away from it.
It was insane. Like I was. It was in the medical bay when the alien...
Yeah, the first time it turns up.
Yeah. It comes up, and I'm, like, confident, because I'm like, yeah, I know how to get out of this room, I know what to do. But then it got to a point where it was, like, nearby, and I had to hide under one of the hospital beds or something.
Yeah.
And it's, like, circling the hospital bed, but you're hidden underneath. I thought I was safe. But then it, like, all of a sudden something triggered it, or I must have moved or something. It sensed me, and it next thing I know, it's like right up in my face, pulling me from underneath the bed, and that just scared the crap out of me.
Yeah,
like I think I jumped out of my
seat. I wish I could still I still had the drivers for it to work on DK2, because the one thing you didn't get to try was with the DK2's positional tracking. You're able to lean around corners.
Yeah.
The coolest thing I did was I played it standing up. So when I was trying to crouch behind a box, I could actually crouch.
Oh, yeah.
And,
that would have
slowly,
been cool.
Lean up to peek over the top of ledges and things like that.
I would have loved to have played Crew Expendable and Last Survivor with the VR gear.
Oh, the ending of Last Survivor is a bit hard to see anything, though. A lot of smoke and lights in that.
But that's cool.
I know. It's atmospheric as hell.
You're in the movie, like you're trying to escape. You're trying to get off the ship.
But yeah, so the thing I got you to try out today was Elite Dangerous with my my full setup.
Yeah, which
so we've got an X55 Cytec flight stick.
Blew my socks off to
DK2 because I can't justify buying a CV1 yet when the DK2 still works.
It's too much money. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, and yeah. So what do you think?
Short of being impressed, honestly, I don't know. That was, again, Elite Dangerous is one of my favourite games. It's one of the most immersive games I've ever played. And usually, my normal setup is just my,
Mouse and keyboard.
Mouse and keyboard, just a normal 24-inch or whatever PC monitor, 144 Hz, which is great, and it runs perfectly on my PC, but that's about it. Like that's as far as that immersion goes. But you suddenly get rid of the mouse and keyboard and start using a proper, real flight stick setup with a throttle and everything, and you got all the toggle switches and stuff.
Well, that's the thing that I found with it. Like, there's a lot of stuff in Elite Dangerous that's pretty mundane.
Right,
just picking up cargo or
doing cargo runs.
Even more just like when you see cargo out in space, and you have to open your cargo bay and just fly over to it.
Yeah.
With a mouse and keyboard or a controller, that's still pretty boring. With this, I find that it's you get in with that whole setup, you get into maneuvering the ship, and especially with the Oculus on, you're looking down, physically looking down to where that little readout is that shows you where your cargo bay is open, and using these toggle switches is just. It's more satisfying.
I mean, you just don't know until you really use one, You've actually shown me this one time, but I didn't actually get to use it that first time. But once you actually sit down and actually use them in a flight sim game, like Elite, I mean, it's just out of this world. It looks like something out of an aeroplane or something, or a sci-fi movie.
They use these in movies a lot too.
Yeah, yes they do
now,
actually.
Now that I've got one, I've spotted it.
You see them in films, you notice them now. But it's nuts. It's got toggle switches, you've got the full throttle, and not to mention the joystick with all the bits and bobs on it.
There's more buttons on that thing than what Elite even needs. I mean, a flight sim, you can probably map it to everything, but there's more stuff there than what.
Well, maybe for your ship now, you're not getting everything.
Yeah.
Like maybe if you get a bigger ship or something.
Well, I didn't just buy it for Elite. I mean, I bought it for Elite and Star Citizen if it ever comes out. So.
Yeah, that's going to be a running joke for a while now.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be the Geek Nukem Forever of
exactly.
Space Sims.
Yeah. But
I'm still optimistic. Well, not optimistic. That's probably too strong a word.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful, I guess, that
Sure.
game's actually going to be anything.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
I mean, what they've got at the moment's still really cool. It's just, I mean, I think the at least Squadron 42 was meant to be like start of this year, I think.
Okay.
Like their timeline on their Kickstarter is way off from what they actually achieved.
Well, what's out? What's currently playable now? Like what build of the?
A little bit of a mini open world.
Just okay. So it's a little slice.
It's got missions. It's got multiplayer. I think they've expanded it a couple of times to allow more players in. I mean, there's space bounties. There's bounties.
Yeah.
Space police.
That's awesome.
And pretty much all the ships that all the ships that are flyable or hangar ready are in the game.
But it doesn't work too well, does it?
I haven't downloaded it recently, just because the game itself is like 32 gigabytes, and they seem to have a habit of making you re-download the entire game.
Oh, really?
Of major content patches. That or my launcher just doesn't want to recognise the files that are already there.
That's weird. What about Doom? Because I wanted to ask you about that because that came out fairly recently as well.
I think leading up to that, I introduced you to Brutal Doom. So
yeah,
which I think you've talked about that.
Yeah,
on the
I think
podcast,
in the episode 4, I was just gushing about that. What an amazing! I mean, it's crazy that game came out in like what 1993.
I think 3 and 4. 93
and 4, early 90s, and I mean, look
Still
how strong. Yeah, it's
basically
still the best game.
Yeah, and like because it's not early 3D, the pixel art still holds up reasonably well. You can see what everything is.
Yeah,
so
and the community behind like Doom 1 and 2, like
they're
the modding and stuff,
they're dedicated.
Insane. Hence why you've got things like Brutal Doom and thousands of like other ones as well.
There's thousands of WODs.
It's awesome.
But yeah, the new Doom was we'll leave it. It's surprisingly good.
Yeah.
My only gripes with it is I think they could have cut back on multiplayer and Snap Map.
Sure.
I think Snap Map would have been better off with just having full mod support, just allowing people to mod the game. They would have made more interesting and more varied things than what Snap Map allows. And now they're chasing it by being, hey, we're going to add in DLC for Snap Map so you can have more stuff.
Despite what Snap Maps suggests you can do, it's limiting.
One, it's limiting, and two, the only way you're going to have a map creator like that work is if you have a community that's going to support it.
Yeah.
I mean, even Little Big Planet, which was entirely designed around having cool and interesting maps, I mean, whilst it got a lot that were cool, that community died off after a little while.
Yeah, it did.
Whereas when you have full mod support, like you look at even more recent games, Skyrim is still getting mods.
Yeah.
Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas still get mods.
Yeah.
And then, Doom from 1993 is still being modded today.
That's just insane.
Like just recently, I showed you the Doom for Doom.
Yeah.
Which is a mod for the original Doom to add in the new Doom weapons.
Yeah.
And so people are still making new shit for that game.
And it's good, like the
But the single player for Doom I thought was great.
Yes.
It was fun. It was a challenging game. I really enjoyed it. At first I thought I would be iffy about the whole glory kills.
Mm-hmm.
Because I liked the aspect of the original Doom where, if you were low on health, you just had to get better or die.
Yeah.
Whereas this, if you're low on health and you manage to kill something, it just drops more health.
Yeah.
But
Not much though, really.
Well, I think it's an increasing amount the lower on health you are.
Ah, okay.
So it still incentivizes you to go hard when you're low on health.
There was a moment where I thought I wasn't going to be able to finish that game.
What, in Vega? Like the Iron Vega chapter? Because I think it was that you were talking about.
Yeah, the bit where you have to go to the... It's not when you're in
it's
the
on
core.
It's on the trains.
Yeah, you're going to the core. I do remember
I did say... I think if it's the one I'm thinking of, because I did die on there a couple of times as well. It's the trains moving in and there's like 2 Kaka demons like in the distance that start firing at you straight away.
And it just gets crazier and crazier in that room.
I don't know, the BFG kind of broke that game for me, though. Like, for those bits, like, those were still really hard fights, and it took me a couple of times to get through that one, but the BFG, if you line up a decent shot, just wrecks the entire room.
Yeah.
So
I
that said, like I did Ultraviolence first.
I haven't
playthrough,
done that yet.
and it was good fun. I really enjoyed it. The last boss was pretty challenging on Ultraviolet.
Yeah.
Namely those lasers that.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. I liked the like the designs or redesigns for some.
I liked it for
demons.
most of the monsters. I thought the imps look a little generic. They don't really scream Doom imp to me. They just here's a demon thing.
Yeah.
I like the redesign of the pinkies. They were recognizable as pinkies. The Revenant's kind of easy. It's just it's a skeleton with rocket launchers. You can't really fuck that up.
What's it
Barons?
called?
The Barons look great.
What's the spider mind? The spider demon?
Spider Mastermind.
Spider mastermind. Yeah. That was awesome.
I want him to add in some arachnotrons.
Oh, maybe in like DLC.
They're the little ones.
Maybe they'll do like.
And like I've always thought the Hell Knight redesign in Doom 3 was okay. Like I thought they were kind of cool looking. So having those as the Doom 4 Hell Knights was fine. Yeah. And the Baron looks like a Baron from Hell from the original Doom.
Weapons were like crazy good too.
Although some of them they got a bit overpowered towards the end of the game for me.
Especially once you upgrade them.
Did you fully upgrade the double shotgun? The double barrel shotgun?
I can't remember. I'm pretty sure because I haven't played it in a long time. I can't remember.
Yeah,
I know I didn't upgrade a lot, like at least not 100% all of the weapons. Like I never upgraded that chain gun thing.
Yeah, you got the wrong upgrade.
I got the wrong one.
You got the spin-up spin. Like, what?
I don't know.
You get an option between, like, a spin-up barrel or triple minigun.
Well...
And you go with spin-up barrel.
I don't know. I thought I'd be able to...
Being tactical.
I thought you'd be able to get to the end of the game and have opportunities to upgrade all the things, but you don't.
But, yeah, the super shotgun, once you fully upgrade that, is... You don't use any other weapon. That was the only problem I had with it. Because it gets piercing shot, so the bullets will penetrate through things. You can fire it twice without reloading, and you can reload it in like 0.3 of a second.
Yeah.
So, and at point blank, that thing will drop I think it drops a Hell Knight in 3 shots, a Revenant in 3 shots, and the only thing that it takes a couple of shots to kill is a Baron.
Yeah.
And if any time a Baron turned up, I'd just use the chainsaw or BFG them.
Yeah, why would you use anything else after that? You're right. Do we know what the DLC is going to be? Like
they did announce some stuff at Ubisoft's press conference. All of the paid DLC, and it's the reason I didn't pay for a season pass, seems to be multiplayer focused, at least at the moment.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay. It's extra demons for multiplayer, extra skins, weapons, maps.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
I could not care less about the multiplayer.
No.
I mean, they've got some cool game modes that I liked from Quake in it, like Clan Arena and Freeze Tag.
Yeah.
Like, Freeze Tag's good fun. But it's just not what I bought Doom for. I bought it to kill demons, and the single player delivered that. I want even more of it.
I haven't even tried multiplayer yet.
Yeah, no, I loaded it, went to find a match, waited 5 minutes, couldn't find a match, and just didn't try again.
Yeah.
I think they also showed some. I don't know whether this is paid or not, but DLC for Snap Map, which is another tile set. So you can have a demon tile set. I don't know whether you can mix and match those tile sets. I kind of doubt whether you could. It would make it more interesting if you could transition from an industrial to a hellscape to a something else. But at the moment, I think you're going to have to pick a tile set and stick with it.
I don't think it will be paid DLC for the Snap Map stuff. It just
no,
doesn't
because
seem like something...
I mean, they could, but they want people to make content for that because it's a draw for more people to buy the game.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't make much sense to make that paid because that limits the amount of creators you're going to have, and it'll just cause people to be like, I'm just not going to make content for this game because I don't have to pay to be able to make content.
Actually, oh man, speaking of DLC, because we were online last night actually.
Yeah.
And there was that whole fiasco with like the story mode for Street Fighter, and we couldn't figure out how to get it.
Yeah.
Turns out you had to download it separately, blah blah blah. I realised upon launching the game, after downloading that first 8GB update, that they threw in like all these new stages, as well as not just the characters, but they threw in all these new stages and stuff. And now you can get all the battle costumes. You can in the store, like in-game shop, for like all the for like all the characters now. Where initially it was like DLC exclusives for like Ryu, Chun-Li, Cammy, and Bison, I think it was. But now you can just get like all of them for every character. And I got annoyed because when you go in the in-game shop, they're listed there, but you can't, unlike everything else in the game, you can't purchase them with in-game fight money that you earn from playing online.
Yeah, they're purely season pass or... I don't think... no, you can buy them individually off of Steam.
You have to buy them with real money individually. Not as it... There's no pack that like gives you those...
The season pass has them though, doesn't it?
No.
Doesn't have the battle costumes?
No.
Really?
This is where I got even more annoyed. Because if you remember, I purchased the $40...
Yeah, I've got a season pass. I just haven't gone on there since it's...
I purchased the $41... Because I never had it before. I'm like, fuck it. Get the $41 season pass. I can just get... Because some of these battle costumes...
I haven't checked. Does the season pass have the maps? Like the stages? Like what?
No.
So it's literally just the characters?
Yeah. This is what I was raging about. Not raging, that's
like
a strong
honestly,
word,
if I buy a season pass, it should be all of the downloadable content.
I paid $41 something for this season pass. And I'm thinking, well... Alright, it's justifiable because you get all the characters, all these crazy...
I think you get all the characters, all the maps.
The battle costumes look... A lot of them look really good. Like, I'm kind of digging them. And I thought, damn, that'd be cool. And the stages.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's great. I mean, I'll get all that stuff. It says the 2016 Season Pass, which means you get all the shit that's released in the 2016, like, season.
Yeah.
No,
it's
all
just
you
characters.
get, literally all you get is Guile, Alex, Juri, Urien,
Ibuki.
Balrog, and Ibuki.
Yeah.
The DLC characters. That's all you get, and their individual battle costumes for those DLC characters. That's it.
And you can unlock all of those in-game without paying for that, but...
That's a lot of fight money.
Yeah, the grind for that is kind of ridiculous.
It's stupid.
I mean, you'd look at maybe getting one character and then you'd be stuck having to either play online a ridiculous amount or... I don't know. Like, the one thing I found out recently too that's even more annoying, you'd figure story mode would give you a decent amount of fight money for finishing it. Do you know how much it gives you?
No.
30,000.
That's not even enough to buy one
stage. No.
Like,
it's not enough for a character or a stage.
What the fuck?
I think it's 50,000 for a character, isn't it? Or 70,000?
It varies.
I know it's 70,000 for a stage.
Yeah.
And it's like what? I think 2,000 for
even the
pallets
cheapest one is like still a lot.
Yeah, it's like 10,000 or 15,000 for a pallet,
And
I think.
honestly, I'm not that great at fighting people online, so that makes it even harder to earn fight money, I think. Which makes it hard. Oh, but you
I don't know. I want it to do well because the reason I bought the season pass is that I've never properly gotten into a Street Fighter before. Like, I learned how to play 4 a little bit.
Yeah.
But I thought, okay, 5's coming out, that's going to be popular, and I want to invest into it and, get good at it so I can go play it in public somewhere.
Yeah.
And from the looks of it, it's not doing terribly well.
I was really disappointed. Like,
I don't know, maybe once all the characters are out and they can just work on bug fixes, as opposed to... Because at the moment, they're kind of in damage control with trying to get content out the door because of how terrible the launch was. Like, the launch, the game didn't work, and then people bought the game only to realise that there's no story, there's no versus CPU, there's no arcade mode. Yeah. Well, arcade mode consists of, like, 2 fights with AI that isn't on.
There still isn't an arcade mode.
Yeah.
What the hell?
And, so, I mean, hopefully once all these characters are out and Season 1's done, they can just work on getting the game working.
I love Street Fighter so much, but, like, I'm really hating it a lot at the same time right now, which is, like, just tearing me apart. Because, I actually really like playing the game, and we had a fighting games tournament a while back that, like, featured heavily that game, Street Fighter 5. And that was great. Like, that's probably some of the most fun I've had in games.
Yeah, I
like,
still think it's going to be a fun game.
But
fighting games live and die by their community, and if there's no one playing it, then no one's going to play it.
I can't play it at home is my problem, because no one plays it online. Like, from our circle of friends, no one plays it online from our group. And the randoms that I get matched with online are just, like, too good for me. I'm not that at that level where I can just like beat people constantly online. And other than fighting online, I don't know what else to do. Like, how many times can you really finish the story mode and be satisfied? Like,
I mean, I'll play it once. Like, Juri was my main from 4, so I'll play it once she's in the game. Admittedly, her moveset looks entirely different. Like, I looked at some footage of it. She's got some of the same sort of moves, but it doesn't look like it's possibly because it's arcade story mode, and she doesn't have all of her moves in there yet. But
I think she used to have
a bufferable 3 projectiles, so she go mid or low.
She doesn't have that dive kick thing anymore.
Yeah, no, and I really like that dive kick.
Yeah.
She doesn't have the dive kick. She only seemed to have a low projectile. She didn't seem to be able to shoot in any other directions.
Yeah.
She still had a backflip thing that she does. But then she also seemed to have something that was sort of similar to Nash's kick. Like the ranged one. That
right, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That is probably going to be different ranges, but it looked like she kind of just did a flip and then landed and did the splits. So, I mean... I'll try and... hopefully she's still good and still plays sort of the same, because I enjoyed her moveset. It was easy to use for me.
Sure, yeah.
So they've switched it up should be a little odd. Although, like I said, I also wanted to try and learn Urian. I've never been a fan of charge characters, and I figured it'd be a decent time to try and learn one.
The fact that he's in Street Fighter 5 is like a blessing. Like that's an amazing thing in itself, I think.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. But, yeah... I don't know. Some disappointments, some cool things announced.
Well, it's still got a bit of life in it, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I want it to do well and I want to support it, but I just hate this DLC shit. Street Fighter 4 had...
Unfortunately, it's here to stay, really.
Street Fighter 4 had... It feels like... I know it's not, but it feels like that game had hundreds of costume packs. And they were all DLC, and you had to pay extra.
I played Tekken Cross Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
Yeah, that was atrocious for character packs.
Yeah. And
color
palettes. A lot of them were free, but...
Yeah, well, the only thing I actually bought was the character pack that had Brian in it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I wasn't going to miss out.
I never downloaded any of
I wasn't going to miss out on having my main in Street Fighter.
Yeah. Oh, my mains were already in the game, so I didn't bother with the DLC. But, what's on the schedule for us this week, Jordan? What are we doing?
Throughout the week, I don't know, not that much, but this weekend coming up, got the Abbey Medieval Festival.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've been... Every time I talk to you, I've been like really hyped for that, and I got my hopes up because I thought it was this weekend, but it's not. It's actually next weekend.
So this will be my 3rd year going there.
I've never been.
My friend Dave he's been training to be a knight there for the last 3 years.
That's amazing.
So this Saturday, it's going to be the first time that he's going to get to actually fight.
That's amazing.
Well, he fought at a different event, but this is his first time fighting at the Abbey.
Yeah.
It'll be my first time seeing him fight.
That's cool. I have never been to a medieval festival.
It's alright.
I don't know. I think it'll be more than just alright.
Oh, you're gonna spend some money. That's what you're gonna do.
Yeah. Well, it's to be expected with any kind of like festival.
Like that sword that I have in the corner there.
Yeah.
There was one bigger than that. Mine was that was the second biggest one you could get.
And that's a big. Like how many meters is that thing? That's like a meter 1 point something.
Yeah, like 1.3 maybe.
Yeah,
1.2.
That's nuts. That thing's huge. I mean, you always mentioned it, but I never imagined it to be that massive. And you kind of like showed it to me earlier. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's like I'm buying a sword. I want to get a great sword.
Exactly. That's cool. I don't have any swords or anything like that. I've only got a Darth Maul lightsaber, but I'm sure that won't fit the theme.
There's a bunch of stalls there, so I'm sure you'll find something to buy.
I just want like a cool cloak or something I can wear around
they've got
grounds. They've got that.
Yeah. If it's all on the same spot, it'll be near the food court, so you can grab some lunch and
I want to get like a drinking horn.
That Joffrey-looking kid to sell you a cloak.
I'll look out for him.
He'll if it's the same people, he'll be there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And yeah, no, the drinking horns. I think I'm not sure if I brought it in. I might still have them in my car. But yeah, they cost about $25. They don't cost a lot. Although I tried drinking out of it directly after purchasing, and it
was it like dusty or something?
Not really dusty, but
Gritty?
the horn adds its own.
Does it?
Its own taste
to the
beverage.
Okay. Well,
Although there's also drinking honey mead out of it. And
when in Rome, though.
Not a big fan of honey mead.
When in Rome, you must do as the Romans do.
Yeah.
Well, that's that. Please forgive or excuse if there are any inconsistencies in
background noise, I guess.
Yeah, the audio quality and or just general kind of production value. Because, as I said earlier, this is the first time we've done it using this format,
live with a single mic. Yeah,
doing it live like this with a single mic. That's the thing, isn't it? Like, where you got to have a space or spot where you just got like no ambient noise or background noise affecting. That's not really on the table for us right now.
But yeah, no, it's an in progress thing. We'll
so
sort of
we're getting there.
Improve it as we go along.
Yeah. So I look forward to doing the next one.
Yeah, probably after the Abbey and after you finish Portal 2.
After we go to the Medieval Festival, and I want to have Portal 2 completed by then, so that's on the books as well. So
yeah, and I'll probably have played more than an hour of Wolfenstein: The New Order. So
that's right, yeah, because you got that on the sale.
Yeah,
too.
I can have a chat about that. So probably chat about some of the sale games that we've bought.
Yep, and there's a few of them, so that'll be good.
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks for listening, and stay tuned, stay classy, stay geeky, and we'll see you in the next episode.